Been through the desert, walked in the ocean, climbed up a mountain, I've sang in the wind, I cried out in the moonlight, I've drank that potion, wished in the fountain, and I've lived in sin. I keep searching for an answer to make me complete, but every time I think that I found it, the ground shifts under my feet. What I know is every moment is a blessing, and every love is like a light, and beauty comes with every sunrise. Living is the purpose, living is the purpose, living is the purpose, living is the purpose of life. To the goddess, lie in the night, dance with the devil, I've screamed at the store, held hands with the holy, I've touched the divine, I've plucked every petal, and again I've been born. I keep searching for an answer to make me complete, but every time I think that I found it, the ground shifts under my feet. What I know is every moment is a blessing, and every love is like a light, and beauty comes with every sunrise. Living is the purpose, living is the purpose, living is the purpose, living is the purpose of every
And I am truly a bit notorious for being late, but today's issue had nothing to do with me. So forgive us for getting a late start. Maybe it gave you time to have a little bit more coffee. Again, my name's Janine Ballou. I'm a member here at Celebration Center for Spiritual Living, also a member of the Board of Directors, serving as Vice Chair this year, and I welcome you, one and all, here in the room and online. If you are joining us online, say hi to us in the chat and let us know you are here and how you found us. We love friendly words in the chat. We do read them. If you're in the room, remember to silence your cell phone, but leave them on because you're welcome to join in the online chat while you're sitting in your chair. If you're joining us for the first time, you are so welcome. Hi, Gary. And we're grateful for your presence. As a matter of fact, if you're in the room as a first-time visitor, we have a guest card. If you're online as a first-time visitor, tell us a little bit about yourself and how we can be in contact with you, and let us know how you found us. You can easily fill out a guest card by scanning the QR code that's on the screen right now. And that's that part of the service. We have a wonderful time planned for you today. We're very excited to welcome a guest speaker and a guest musician, but I have to start by saying thank you to our awesome tech crew. Today is being totally run by Ivor Tillotson. Round of applause. Yay, Ivor. It's all coming together perfectly. As a matter of fact, that goes right into the name of your encouragement today. Our guest speaker, Reverend Dan Granda, is joining us to talk about perfectly imperfect passion. I challenge you to say that fast 3 times in a row. Perfectly imperfect passion, perfectly imperfect. I can't do it. Reverend Dan is the co-founder and co-director of the Soul Evolution Collaborative CSL Teaching Center, dedicated to fostering both personal transformation and communal evolution through an innovative bricks and clicks model. Thank you, Dan. We're so grateful you're here. And our guest musician this morning is Annette Wasilik. I tried. Annette listened to her parents' and older siblings' recordings for hours as a child, when at 14 she found a damaged Sears Silvertone, and I had to look that up. I think that's like an old-timey record player.
No, it's a guitar.
Well, see, what do I know? She found an old guitar. Thank you. Sears Silvertone guitar hidden in the basement. She glued the bridge back on and began writing songs, which is awesome. Very creative. Very Ivor Tillotson-y, because he fixes things like that. Yes, he does. She glued the bridge back on and began writing songs, and today has recorded 2 albums, Songs from the Talking House, which took home the Contemporary Folk Recording of the Year from the Washington Area Music Association, and her 2020 release, Love and Fire, which landed #1 on the North American College and Community chart and #6 on the Folk DJ chart. So grateful for your awesome presence with us today. Just have a few announcements. Join us, first of all, thank you for being here today, but come back on October 23rd for our 3rd annual Appreciation Potluck. And this is where we take time to thank members in our community who have just exceeded expectations. Not that we have any expectations, but they show up and they do great things, and we say thank you to them. So come back for that. And you heard the word potluck, it means food. Bring your favorite dish to share and get ready to celebrate all of the people who have supported Celebration Center this year, and that includes all of you. It's October 23rd, so we're giving you a month and a week notice, and you'll hear about it again and again. It's a Sunday. It should be a Sunday. Oh, it's because I'm not wearing my glasses. Melinda's correct. It's the 22nd. Thank you, Melinda. 22nd. Wear your Halloween costume the following Sunday, which is a Sunday, and I can see this number without my glasses, and that's October 29th. And like I said, wear your Halloween costume because we'll celebrate that special holiday. What are you going to dress up with this year, Richard? We will not have the hybrid community time today after service. However, we invite you to join us throughout the week for one of our many offerings. Visit the celebrationcenter.org website for a complete list of activities. And so, with that, thank you for being here. And I would like to invite guest musician Annette to the stage for an opening song. So, Annette, we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Hey everyone. Thank you for inviting me, and I'm a good friend of Lynn's, and we have sung a lot together, and we played here, I played here pre-pandemic, a long time ago, but anyway, here's a song, and if it says sing along, so if you feel like singing along, go ahead, but I'm told that's a Lynn thing, right? This is called Dancing in a Dream. And I wrote it for my daughter in mind. When I get wiser, I will not worry, 'cause my heart will be swinging wide open and free. And when I get stronger, I will not worry, 'cause my roots will be deep as a white oak tree. Lay your sweet hand in mine. Oh, and we'll go dancing in time. Now when I get smarter, I will not argue. Hasn't happened yet. I'll just shine harder, enough to tickle you. And when I get older, I'll stop my seeking, 'cause I'm starting to see all I need is right here with me. Whoa, nothing is as it seems. Whoa, we're all dancing in a dream. Now when I get younger, my eyes will be keen again. I'll see the magic in the seen and unseen again. And when I'm dying and coming to the end, no, I love you, I love you, I love you. Surely we will meet again. Lay your sweet hand in mine. Whoa, and we'll go dancing in time. as it seems. Whoa, we're all dancing in a dream.
That was lovely. I love the imagery of that. And a line just popped out at me, Annette. When I'm younger, my eyes will be more keen. I could use that. Thank you. Thank you. Do we have Judy? Okay. So part of our challenge this morning, our practitioner, Judy Blaise, is somewhere out there in the world and can't connect to us for technical difficulties. So our practitioner time today, I'm going to ask Reverend Dan if he would be so kind and offer us a few words as a practitioner. So you're on the spot, Reverend Dan, and I'm grateful. Thank you.
Good morning. So why don't we just take a moment, and if you're feeling comfortable to do so, feel free to close your eyes, and let's just remind ourselves of what we already know to be true. And so in this moment, I know that there is a singular power and presence back of all things. It is that thing that has created. It is the creation, and it is that thing that animates and moves that creation. It is literally everything. It is everything that we can think. It is every thought we've ever had. It is every experience we have had and will have and are having. It is everything we can touch and feel and sense. It is the power and the presence back of literally everything. It is what we are. It is who we are. We are this thing in action, moving and living and breathing and thinking and operating and experiencing life as it is. We are this one thing collectively. We are simply different points of experience, points of life, beings showing up as this one, knowing itself, seeing itself, witnessing itself. And so we just let that idea settle into who we are, to rewrite thoughts and beliefs, to remember that truth, that there is something within us that knows this to be true in every moment, that knows that we are what it is, that we are the thing, we are not separate, that we are life experiencing itself, life knowing itself, life being itself. And so I recognize in this moment that there is a clearing of class consciousness, those limiting thoughts and beliefs that exist somewhere out in the ethers of life are being surgically removed in this moment and replaced with this idea, this recollection, this remembrance that we are the one, that the one is everything, that we are it. We are the one knowing itself, being itself, experiencing itself in this way. And that is the reason we are here. We are here for the one to be many. For the one to see itself, it must have at least another. And so we are that other point of individualization of the one knowing itself, looking back at itself. And so we simply remember this and recognize the feeling of knowing this, that there is a sensation within us that arises when we have this thought, when we remember this idea, when this concept comes to mind. And so we allow that feeling, that sensation just to amplify and reverberate within our being. So much so that it just becomes so familiar that we can return to it at any time, at any moment, anywhere. We can return back to this sensation, back to this idea, back to this feeling, this sense of knowing, of just how connected we are to everything, to everyone, to every thought, to this entirety of life, to this one thing that exists. And so this brings me to gratitude. Gratitude for knowing this. Gratitude for the awareness that we can pause in any moment and remember this. Gratitude for the choice of thought, to choose a new thought, to choose a new experience, to influence life as it shows up around me, around us, that we can each do this in any moment. And so with this gratitude, I simply release this idea, release this prayer out into mind, letting it echo and reverberate even further. I release this and let it go, and so it is.
Annette, would you grace us with another song, please? Thank you.
This is a COVID song I wrote. And if you remember at the beginning of COVID, I see your ladybug. Ivor has ladybug headphones. They're very good. At the beginning of the pandemic, maybe for the first 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks, everyone in the world seemed to be together. You know, the sky cleared. There was a village not far from the Himalayas, and anyone who was under 30 years old had never seen the Himalayas because of the smog. And so in the pandemic, there was so little air traffic, they saw the Himalayas for the first time. Canals some canals, I guess, in Venice had gone clear for the first time as well. And that lasted for a short time. And plus, the cherry blossoms were so beautiful that year. So it was this very difficult, sweet, bittersweet combination of beauty and sorrow and fear. And so this is a song about that. And I hope that we will come out of it wiser and more aware of how connected we all really are. I've got to tune my high E down to a whole step here. It's called Days of Dying and Wonder. Just a little rain, nothing to fear, but a silent storm was coming near. 2020 early spring, heartbreak in the blossoming. Sirens wail down through the empty streets, people banging pots and pans out on their balconies. In these days of dying and wonder, oh, these days of dying and wonder. Old canals running clear, haze lifts from the mountaintops, not seen for years, all one, not alone. One earth, one home. But I dreamed doves were flying off a burning wall. If mercy's for the weak, have mercy on us all. In these days of dying and wonder, oh, these days of dying and wonder. wonder. Some will keep on sleeping, dreaming that old dream, but some are gonna wake up after seeing what we've seen. Let the children play, bring in a bright new day, like God's own firecracker raining in the sky. Flaming hearts float on down and open every eye. In these days of dying and wonder, oh, these days of dying and wonder. These are days of dying and wonder.
Thank you, Annette. That was lovely. You know, small centers, people wear many hats, and we even extend that courtesy to our guest speaker, Reverend Dan. And so now I would like to welcome Reverend Dan to this podium to give us his message this morning. Please help me welcome Reverend Dan Granda.
Well, good morning again. I've been here a couple times in the last few years, so it's nice to be back and see some familiar faces. I want to say I've had the pleasure of staying at Reverend Chris and Reverend Ryan's this week. I guess it's been a pleasure. Reverend Chris had a scheduled knee surgery this past Tuesday, and so I've been here as a emotional support friend, chauffeur, among some other things. So, no, but it has been nice to spend the time with them. Reverend Chris is doing great. She's recovering as best as you can from a knee surgery, and so you will see her soon. But she does send her love and misses you all, and we'll see you in a little bit. But that does mean I get to be here today and share with you a message. And so today we're talking about the idea of having passions, perfectly imperfect passions. Yeah, try and say that a whole bunch of times. Try and say it once, slowly, let alone a couple times fast. Perfectly imperfect passions. And so I think this idea covers the ground for a couple of thoughts, a couple of premises that we might need to look at. And I just want to start with, imagine living in a world where everyone was free to pursue their passions openly, easily. Everyone could just go and follow their passions and do the thing they loved. And I don't know why, but immediately there are thoughts that come up that are like, okay, like, that's not possible, or we can't because, or no, whatever. Like, there's just all of these beliefs that immediately show up, and what is up with that? Why are there so quickly these thoughts and beliefs that can be so immediately limiting to what I think seems like such a good idea, right? Why shouldn't we pursue our passions, and yet we do have these cultural, societal ideas that seem to speak against us actually doing that. And I think it would be wise to maybe question why that is. Why do so many ideas like pursuing passions, why do we shut those down so quickly? And I think at first we need to look at why this matters. Why does something like passion, Why is something like following our passion so important? And why do we, at the same time, shut it down? And our passions are important because passion is human nature. It is within our nature to pursue things that are valuable and important to us, right? Because that's really what our passions are. Our passions are those things that feel important, those things that matter, right? The things in our lives that we care about, the things that our values push us towards, our beliefs push us towards, the things that we probably couldn't do without. That's kind of the general idea of our passion. And at the same time, passions can be little things. Passion can be a hobby that we just picked up last week. I mean, passions don't have to be these big, huge ideas, and yet they can be. Passions have created entire movements, right? So our passion is this human endeavor to pursue things that matter to us. And why is that? Why is it that we all seem to be hardwired to pursue things that matter to us? Well, because that's actually the point of being here, right? That's the point of life being life. For the one to know itself, it has to have things here. It has to have points of existence here in this world to know itself as this world, right? If you have one thing, imagine the oneness, it's just light shining in every direction. But imagine now you put up something in the way of that light. Well, now the light's reflecting off something. The light has a way of looking at itself. So the point of human existence is to be that thing that the light bounces off of, the thing for which the one knows itself. And so as we are here pursuing our passions, the things that matter to us become those points where we show up as a place for the light to reflect off itself, for the thing to know itself. Self-actualization, right? We are here as self-actualization. Our passion is what drives us, what pulls us, what pushes us into self-actualization, self-realization. For us to be here, that's basically the most human thing possible, is our passion. Whatever your passion is, following that passion in a lot of ways is your reason for being here. Now, maybe passion changes, right? So maybe your passion this week is not the same as next week, and that's perfectly fine too. What your passion is now, what your calling is now, is driving you to be that next thing, to show up in that next greater way. And then it opens up a door to a bigger idea, and maybe that passion expands, or maybe that passion turns into something else. Maybe it turns into a new passion. But our passion is the most human thing possible, the most human part of us showing up in this life. It is how the one knows itself. It is how we connect with that oneness, that thing that there is, that thing that is all that there is, right? So wouldn't it be amazing to live in a world where everybody just freely pursued their passion? Where we all just immediately knew this. We all just immediately knew, oh, if I were to just do that thing, everything would work out. Everything would be great. Everything would be perfect. And yet, for some reason, we don't seem to live in that world. We don't seem to live in a world that says, yes, go do that thing. Go follow your passion. Go be that thing. We have like rules that say you need to be this. You should be doing this. You have to check off all these boxes. Have this, do these things, and then you'll have the life that the world says you should probably have. And very rarely does that checklist of things fall in line with actually pursuing our passion. And so what happens is we go, okay, well, I will do these things so that when this is complete, then I can follow my passion. And so we fall into if-then thinking, or if-when thinking, right? If I do this, then that can happen. If this happens, when this happens, then that can happen. And this is called destination thinking, right? Once I reach that goalpost all the way over there, then I will have enough. Then I will be enough. I will think enough of myself that I can do the thing differently. And I think this is probably one of the most important tenets of science of mind is, and I think it's said in so many words, and I don't know that it's necessarily said this clearly, but destination thinking, I think, is one of our most limiting beliefs. When that happens, then, once I get there, once I accomplish, once I become, then I can do the thing. Then I'll be enough. Then I can do the thing for real. Instead of just doing it now, literally we're not going to be anyone different when we get there other than knowing what we know having taken that journey. And then when we get there, I guarantee, believe me, I've had a lot of practice at this. When you get to when I got to the destination, it just opened up a new door to a new goal. There was another destination because destination thinking itself was the motivating drive. There's a goalpost. And when I reach it, then I'll be this thing. Well, I get to that goalpost and that destination, and now there's another goal. There's another destination. There's another thing to reach. And so imagine a world where we were all free enough to pursue our passions. Imagine a world where our passions didn't rely on us becoming something else so that we could then do the thing. Imagine if we could just do the thing now and realize that we don't have to wait until then because that goalpost is actually something we just made up. We don't actually reach a goalpost. There isn't actually a goalpost to reach. We just kind of like threw an arrow into the future and said, like, yeah, when I land where that arrow landed, then obviously I'll be enough. And it becomes this really good excuse in our mind. It seems like it makes a lot of sense to put it off in the future because that is the system of thinking that our society tends to operate in, right? We have this, from this belief of separation, right? I mean, a lot of society operates in this separate mentality, right? Me here, destination there, greater power somewhere else, right? Like the tendency to think of God as something else out there making decisions for us. Oh, it's already decided, or like, yeah, it's meant to be. Like something else already decided what's going to happen, right? So there's that dualistic thinking that in society says, yeah, once you check off these, once you accumulate these certain things and check off certain boxes, then you'll be valuable to society. Then you'll be enough. Then you'll be whatever society has taught us that we should think we will be once that happens. Whereas in the science of mind, we have this recollection, this recognition that we are already that. We are already the thing we think we're trying to become. And the becoming is actually the thing this sounds really twisted. The becoming is the thing that we're trying to be, right? So what we experience along the way, trying to reach that goalpost, is actually the real goal. If there were a goal, it's not to reach the goalpost. The goal is to experience the journey along the way, experience the things that happen along the way in the becoming. But we are already the thing. We're already enough, right? And I know that sounds like a phrase that feels good and sounds like it makes a lot of sense when you really think of it. It's like, well, how are we actually already the thing if I haven't had the experience yet of becoming the thing? If the goal is becoming, if the goal is the journey, then how am I actually already the thing that I'm trying to become? Like, wait a minute, that actually, if you think about it for a couple seconds, it sounds like it doesn't make any sense from the perspective of God out there, us here. But if you think about it in terms of oneness, in terms of we are the thing, okay, we live here in a physical universe, so we perceive the experience of life as from here to there. So destination thinking in that sense kind of actually makes sense because, well, we're here and it's there and we experience time this way. But in the reality of the one, if the one is what created this experience of life, if the one is what created this material universe, well, then it has to be something greater than just this experience. It has to be something greater than what it created. Now, it is also within its creation and of its creation, and so we are also it, and there's part of us that is greater than this experience because we are all connected, literally, like we are the brain, the mind, the thought, the thinking that is the whole thing. And so it exists, for lack of a better word, because our language kind of falls short at this point, the thing itself exists beyond time and space, beyond this existence. And so when it creates as the mind, the whole thing happens simultaneously, because there's no time without physical experience. Without the physical experience of life, of experience from here to there, there's no time. All of life is happening in an instant. And so when we already are the thing, because in the mind of the one, as thought, as consciousness, the whole thing has already happened. We're just experiencing it this way, from here to there. And so the misinterpretation of that is from here to there, this goalpost thinking, this if-when thinking, because that on the surface seems to make sense. Like, oh yeah, well, obviously I want to become this thing, so then once I reach that point, then I'll be the thing. Except we already are the thing, reaching the thing, right? We are experiencing it in human form and also simultaneously as the one. And so when we set these goals, it tends to be because we think the thing we are now is not right, it's not good enough, it's not perfect. It has to be perfect. Once I do this perfectly, then I can reach that goalpost. And so I have a lot of experience with this in particular because as a musician, I went to college for music, and so I have an undergraduate degree in music performance and a graduate degree in music composition. And let me tell you, nothing left the practice room before it was perfect. Nothing. Well, I guess that's a lie, because things left the practice room. Perfect is the idea of perfection, as we tend to think of it, from if-then thinking, is a lie. However, perfection from the perspective of already happened thinking is an absolute truth. Everything exists perfectly because it exists exactly how it exists. Because it's already complete. In an instant, the thought is already complete in the realm that is beyond time and space, the realm that is beyond the physical timeline of A to B. The thing is already complete, and so it must be perfect because that's what is. And yet, from our human perspective, we view perfection as once this musical piece that I'm working on becomes perfect, then I can put it up on stage in front of people. But until I can play every note and every bar and every phrase perfectly, it's going to stay in this practice room for me, and I'm going to continue practicing it for hours and hours and hours a day until it's perfect, until I can play it perfectly every time. At least that's kind of the mentality that we get trained in, or at least that I was trained in this schooling process, was play your scales perfectly, play your exercises perfectly, play with perfect technique, play your music perfectly, until you realize that the most perfect part of music is the imperfection that is being in the performance space, because everything, you get up on stage with the music and everything changes. Everything changes, because now there are people in front of you, you're in a different space, there's all these other variables that from a if-then thinking perspective ruin it, because it's now not perfect, right? But in reality, that becomes the perfection of it, the experience of being in that room while someone is making music on the stage. You're part of that experience. You and I, we together get to make that thing. And how perfect is it that happened once? That piece of art happened once, and it was because of all of us in that space. We get to create that thing. And it's so, as the title suggests, imperfectly perfect. That the imperfections are what made it that thing in that moment. Maybe that extra inflection somewhere on that one note that never happened in the practice room, or the way the echo reverberates off the room in that space because of the humidity and air temperature that day, is so different than in this climate-controlled practice room where everything can happen within a vacuum, right? And so the same is true for our passions. We so often put off our passion for this if-then thinking because we're waiting for it to be perfect, perfectly presentable. Whereas the perfect presentation of it is however it is. And that can be really hard to swallow, especially as a musician, because my art is such a reflection of me. And if it shows up imperfect, well, what does that mean about me, right? And so this is true, I think, for all of our passions, that when we show up in the world in a way that we think is imperfect, wow, what is that going to look like? What are people going to think? What does that mean about me? What does that say about me if I'm not perfect, if I can't show up perfectly this one time, if I can't play this musical phrase perfect, if I can't say this one thing so eloquently, if we don't show up perfectly in our nature, in our passion, in our whatever it is, what does that mean about us? And yet, I think that only matters when we are looking at it through the if-then perspective. If we think we all need to be something specific, meet specific goals, check certain boxes that we haven't met yet, well, then you're not enough. You're not whatever. I'm not good enough. I'm not practiced enough, whatever it is. Unless we step into compassion, the compassion that shows up in immediate, right? It's already done thinking. I am enough. I was born enough. I am enough. It's perfect because it's where I am. It's perfect. It's because who I am, of how I'm showing up, of how I'm pursuing the passion. It's exactly where it needs to be, because that's where it is. That's where I am. And so I think the application of this is a willingness for self-acceptance, right? So one, a recognition that we have the choice when we remember to remove ourselves from if-then thinking, of goalpost destination thinking. We can remove ourselves from that and embrace self-acceptance, embrace compassion, embrace empathy, embrace, yeah, right, I was born enough. This is the perfection of how this shows up here, from the sense of oneness, divine perfection, right? This imperfectly perfect way of being starts with self-acceptance. It continues with allowing ourselves to do the thing that we would otherwise consider failure. Because from if-then, failure seems like a step backwards. If I do that, if I'm trying to reach that goal and I take a step backwards, if I fail and I take a step backwards, I'm moving in the wrong direction, because we're trying to make it to that thing. We're not the thing until we get there. But if we realize we're already the thing, then failure is just another step in progress in experience along the way. We're just learning that next thing, because there's so much more to learn in failure than there is in any success. That I know for sure. That every time we fail at doing something, if we can remove ourselves from that if-then thinking, if we can embrace the already enoughness, then failure becomes one of our greatest learning experiences. It becomes one of our greatest steps into this way of being that already is. And so I think the call here is for us to all really, one, recognize our passion. What are you passionate about? Because I think a lot of times our passions can get so squashed by if-then thinking, by destination thinking, by not good enough, by all of that limiting belief nonsense that with enough thought and effort, we can bring ourselves to realize this is nonsense, but by default, we tend to believe in a lot of the times. If we can remove ourselves from that and actually follow the passion, what is that passion? What is that thing in you that maybe got squashed? Or maybe what's that hobby you wanted to take up last week and didn't, or last year and didn't, or that thing you've always been wanting to do? And so I would suggest this week, just take some time to daydream. Just daydream about what it is that you feel called to. And it could be something really simple. Like maybe it's gardening or painting or working at a soup kitchen, or it could be anything. Maybe it's something world-changing. Maybe it's huge. But maybe it's something no one else will even know about. but I couldn't before because I had to check the list of the things, or I had to wait until, right? But what if we just set aside the time? That doesn't mean, we're not going to do things that we know we need to be doing, like taking care of ourselves and family and, cooking, eating, cleaning, whatever. Like those things do need to happen. And some of those things can wait if they need to for us to have a half an hour in a day to pursue a passion. So spend some time this week daydreaming. What is the thing that really calls you? If you could do anything in this world without anything stopping you, what would it be? If you could change anything about this world, like with a magic wand, if you could change anything about the world, what would you change? What's something that you couldn't live without? Right? These are questions that we can ask ourselves that really direct us towards what our passion is. What's that thing that you couldn't live without? Big or little. What is your passion? What calls you? And so don't let the enemy of your good be imperfection or perfection, right? Don't let that stop you. Don't let the idea of perfection stand in your way from doing the thing, right? Don't let if-then thinking stand in your way from doing the thing. Just spend some time with your passion. Whether you're daydreaming about it, whether you actually start it, whether it's just getting in touch with what it is, just spend some time being that thing, right? You already are the thing. You already are the thing that your passion is moving you towards. And so just know that you are your passion for a reason, right? It's not because of something out there, but it's because you already are the thing. That something is exactly the way it needs to be in you because the world is looking for that thing. So the world actually needs you to be that passion, right? How much better would the world be? Imagine a world where we could all freely pursue our passions without anything standing in our way. So let's just take a nice deep breath. And again, if you're feeling comfortable to do so, close your eyes. And let us just remember that there is only one. Whatever we name it, whatever the one is, whatever the thing is, there is only one. And it exists so much beyond our full recognition on purpose, intentionally. It exists in a way that we couldn't possibly fathom the totality of what it is, so that we could be here as people, as the thing in form, in this experience, holding the agreements to the material world, right? We showed up here knowing, holding this idea that we are in and of form as the one. And so we have certain agreements with life, that the chair we are sitting in, the floor we are standing on, that all of these things are solid, that this is solid matter, that it is holding us up, that it is supporting us, that we do not go through it. We are here with these agreements that life is an experience through time. That we are here for that purpose. We are here for the purpose of experiencing life on a timeline, life from A to B, from learning from the experience of moving from A to B. That we are here knowing oneness as the experience of life on earth, as humans, as the one, right? As life on earth, as humans, as the one. That is one idea. Living and moving and breathing and thinking as one, that we are here pursuing our passions more and more easily in every moment, so that life itself knows itself deeper and deeper in every moment, so that we are the most human we could possibly be, because that is why we are here. We are the one in form to know itself as human in form, to know itself as each one of us in form. What is oneness like as each one of us? And so I know that pursuing our passions brings us to a deeper and deeper experience of that oneness, a deeper and deeper experience of that recognition, of that experience, of that sense of knowing of that sense of connection, of that sense of oneness, of that sense of being. Knowing that the purpose of life is being here to experience life. And we experience it deeper and deeper and deeper. And we follow our passions more deeply and more deeply in every moment. And so I know this to be true for every single one of us, each person in this room, each person online, every person hearing this message live in our future. You're present hearing this whenever you are watching and beyond, that this is actually true for every single point of consciousness, point of life, of experience, of awareness in this world and beyond what we possibly know. And so we know this to be true. We simply release this out, letting it echo and reverberate and move beyond our recognition, beyond our conscious awareness, infinitely. And so it is. Thank you.
Reverend Dan, thank you so much. Could we show our appreciation for Reverend Dan just a little bit again? We invite our guest musician up to grace us with another song, if you will be so kind. Thank you, Annette.
Thank you, Dan, for that. Reminds me of Rumi saying, "That which we seek is seeking us." Right? Yeah, that's a good one. That guy, he knew stuff. He's a smart guy. Helps being a mystic. So, since you were talking about passion, I'm gonna sing this song. Let's see, what should I wrote it for a young musician, and it's very hard to make a living as a musician. So following your passion, and I was raised with ballet, and then I just picked up a guitar and played A minor and E minor for like years, and it was so freeing. But ballet was like, talk about perfection. I got my own way, but this is a song I wrote with a particular young musician in mind. Who has ears out the wazoo. He hears everything. He's a beautiful singer and a songwriter, but he's been struggling. Whoa. So it's kind of a pipe dream, but he's doing it. Let's see how. And I didn't really start being out there as a musician until after my daughter was pretty fully raised. And so I think we can do anything we want, maybe not necessarily all at the same time, but yeah, it's like... This is called The Music's King. I'm not going to use the pick today. Let's see. And I play with the trio, and the guys sing backup. It's a lot of fun. Sometimes it's a quartet when we get the fiddle player. He was born with the music in his veins, born with a knowledge no one could explain, with an old man's heart, a young man's smile, and an artist's soul, a gentleman's style. He opens the window just to let in the rain, let in the wind to feel alive again, and he hears that voice whisper in his ear, says you can't go back, but you can't stay here. Whoa, he can't help himself. The music's king, it's his everything. Whoa, he can't help himself. He's gonna find a way. He'll make it work one day. Well, Now sometimes a map's just a bunch of lines. Look into the sky for some kind of sign. Turn over the cards. There's the fool and the wheel of fortune. Can be cruel, but there ain't no life in these monuments. Whole damn town don't make much sense. There's oxygen, yeah, but he can't breathe. He can't stay. He's gotta leave. Oh, he can't help himself. This music's king. It's his everything. Oh, he can't help himself. He's gonna find a way. He'll make it work one day. Well, he found his way to a big dream town, found a manager who fell in love with the sound. He called his honey and said, come on, join me. She said, you calling from Texas or Tennessee? Now he's on the road and his love 4 miles for that old man's heart. Young man smile for all the music running in his veins, for all the music he never could contain. He can't help himself. The music's king. It's his everything. Oh, he can't help himself. He's gonna find a way. He'll make it work one day.
Oh, Annette, thank you. I was moving to that. That was beautiful.
I wasn't planning on doing that one, but
Passion showed up. Passion showed up. My friends, this is the time in our service for our gifts and offerings. We are a tithing community, and we rely on the tithes and gifts from our congregation. But please know that your presence, as well as the love, time, talent, and treasure that you bring, is a gift to our community. And we're always so, so grateful. There are several ways you can give. If you are in person, feel free to drop your donation in the basket, and it's located over there in the room. If you're online, you can scan the QR code, or you can visit celebrationcenter.org and click on the Give button. You're also welcome to mail your gift in, and our address is located on our website at celebrationcenter.org. And I would like you to join me in our offertory affirmation. So read along with me, please. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I'm just so grateful to be here as your host today, knowing that the oneness that is us, as us, through us, shows up in multiple ways, in multiple gifts and tithes and offerings, and we're grateful for all of it as it extends our ability to reach our community and our world. So thank you, and bless these donations, and so it is. Our service bops along with Ivor and his little headphones in the back. And Annette, we invite you, if you would share with us a closing song, if you are so prepared for one more piece of music. I remind everyone, you can find Annette's music. No? Yeah. AnnetteWasilik.com. I know I'm going to be seeking that out. So please, grace us again right now. Right now. It's really okay. Let's welcome Annette with some applause.
This has been sweet, and thank you for listening, and thank you for speaking and inspiring and having me back. Let's see. This is called The World's on Fire. And I had watched the drone footage of the bombing in Syria, all the bombings in Syria several years ago, this was before the pandemic, and I tried to write a song about it, and of course I couldn't because it was too overwhelming, and I thought, what is it that we do when we're overwhelmed with fear and sorrow and agony? And I thought, well, we reach out for those we love, and so that's what this song, that gave me something to hold on to. So, but it's called "The World's on Fire," and it's only becoming more apropos every year. So, I think I will use the pick. Precious world, green and blue, my heart aches for the love of you. Everywhere I turn, seems we've all gone wrong, but I don't believe all our love is gone. The world is on fire. The world is on fire. The world is on fire. Come lie with me. The world is on fire. The world is on fire. The world is on fire. Come lie with me. The water's rising. Hold me close, my dear. Don't have to die. Heaven and hell's right here. The mountains moan and the rivers rage. The rocky cliffs are rattling against the sage. The world is on fire. The world is on fire. The world is on fire. Come lie with me. God knows, but she's not talking. God knows, but he's no wishing well. God knows, but they're not talking. God knows, but only time's gonna tell. The world is on fire. The world is on fire. The world is on fire. Come lie with me. The world is on fire. The world is on fire. The world is on fire. Come lie with me. Thank you.
So that brings us to the end of our service, and I just had this thought. Let's all stand up. Get a little blood flowing. If you're at home, stand up. Oh yeah, I can see you. And repeat after me. I am something wonderful happening in the world. I am full of passion, energy, and love. My life is my purpose. I allow my soul to come alive. I am spirit in action. And so it is.